the deal structures used in the acquisitions of William Wrigley Jr. Company by Mars, Inc. and Wyeth by Pfizer, Inc. Both transactions borrowed heavily from the private equity model and were engineered to address the issues raised by the serial implosion of private equity deals in 2007 and 2008, discussed in earlier chapters. I conclude with chapters 10, 11, and 12. Chapter 10 discusses the government as dealmaker in the serial bailouts of AIG, Bank of America, Citigroup, and others, and the implications of government by deal for our economy and for dealmaking specifically. The last two chapters look to the future. In Chapter 11, I discuss potential reform of the nation's takeover law. In the final chapter, Chapter 12, I draw on the conclusions of the prior 11 chapters to sketch the future of dealmaking in a crisis age and beyond. In this final chapter, I also discuss whether deals and dealmaking add value to our economy and examine the related question of the role of deals and dealmaking in precipitating the global financial crisis. We live in a time where many corporate veterans wonder whether a long 50-year cycle of deal-making that began with the go-go 1960s has come to an end driven by a massive deleveraging of the financial system. But I am more hopeful believing that deals and deal-making will continue to be an integral, substantial, and necessary part of our capital markets. Either way, the events covered in this book are likely to set the course for deals and deal-making for the foreseeable future. Ultimately, Gods at War is about the factors that drive and sustain deal-making. It is a legal-oriented history of the recent events that will alter and strongly influence the future of deal-making. It is also the story of the deal machine, the organizations built up to foster deal-making as well as the increasingly important role of shareholders themselves. In the midst of these forces sit the corporate executives and their advisors who decide whether to deal or not. Their own individual personalities and ego-driven decisions further shape and drive deal-making. It is here where I draw the title for this book. These individuals, like gods, can determine the future of companies and our economy. Prologue. The social caste of New York is still set by money and the power to control it. Money provides an entree into New York society, but the power quotient, your position in the financial industry, ranks you among your peers. It was thus no coincidence that the New York social event of 2007 was the 60th birthday party of Stephen Schwarzman, Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and co-founder of the private equity firm, the Blackstone Group. The $3 million Valentine's Day-themed gala was held on February 13th at the 7th Regiment Armory on Park Avenue. Amid the bomb-sniffing dogs and paparazzi, a who's who of finance, government, and media attended. These included John Thain, now the embattled former CEO of Merrill Lynch and Company, Inc., Sir Howard Stringer, chairman of Sony Corp of America, Leonard A. Lauder, chairman of the board of Estee Lauder, Inc., former Secretary of State Colin L. Powell, and Maria Bartiromo, the proclaimed money honey of CNBC. Rod Stewart and Patti LaBelle serenaded the guests, and the party ended at a punctual midnight, sufficiently early to allow everyone to return to work the next day. The media publicity and attendance were not just because it was an expensive birthday party thrown for a billionaire. Rather, this was the unofficial coronation of Schwarzman as the new king of private equity. Henry Kravis, along with Jerome Kohlberg Jr. and George R. Roberts, founded the private equity industry back in the 1970s and 1980s. Their firm, Kohlberg, Kravis, Roberts and Company, known as KKR, had dominated the field until the 1990s. Schwarzman's Blackstone had recently surpassed KKR as the largest of the private equity shops with assets under management of $78.7 billion. This was Schwarzman's coming-out party. Henry Kravis, still co-CEO of KKR, did not attend and would not even publicly state whether he was invited. And so what if the press coverage in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and elsewhere was less than favorable, describing